Philosophy. Miyamoto Musashi. When you were younger, you properly imagined you to be the next Michael Jordan, Lionel Messi, or Cristiano Ronaldo, at your field. But something you have to consider is that they all have lost some games. And you might say, what about Floyd Mayweather? He never lost. His record is 50-0. Yes, that might be true. But what if I told you there was a guy that won over 60 duels and never lost a single one? Miyamoto Musashi was a renowned swordsman, samurai, ronin, Buddhist, and philosopher from Japan. He was born in 1584 in the Harima province and began training in swordsmanship at a young age under his father, Munisai Shinman, who was also a samurai and martial artist. Musashi is known for having won over 60 duels, his first being at the age of 13. He was famous for defeating the greatest swordsmen of his time, including his most famous duel against Sasaki Kojiro in 1612, where he won using a wooden sword against Kojiro's longer and heavier sword, showcasing the importance of strategy and skill over physical strength. According to legend, Musashi also faced a powerful swordsman named Yoshioka Seijiro, and instead of a formal duel, he decided to meditate and practice in a cave for 3 days before emerging to face his opponent, impressing him so much that he called off the duel. Musashi retired from active combat at 61 and is believed to have written his famous treatise, The Book of Five Rings, which outlines a philosophy of life, strategy for martial arts, and code of conduct for warriors. He is also believed to have dedicated his final years to the practice of Zen Buddhism and passing on his teachings to students before passing away. In 1645, Miyamoto Musashi wrote about how to become the best and how you could reach your full potential. He believed that you shouldn't depend on anything or anyone. This can be seen in that Miyamoto Musashi was a ronin, or a masterless samurai. He believed that by following a master, he would become a copy of that master, and not find their own style. He wanted to study how to become the best, and in order to do so, he had to find other techniques than just what a master would teach him. Therefore, he came up with his own technique, where he used 2 swords instead of 1. If Miyamoto Musashi had had a master, he probably would never have learned to fight with 2 swords. Which proved very handy since he won all of his 60 duels. In the book The Book of Five Rings, he talks about being loyal to your own path. It's important to take responsibility for getting on the right path and staying on it. If you let others control or push you off your path, you are vulnerable. Imagine you would like to be a basketball player, the new Michael Jordan, and that this is your path. It's important, according to Miyamoto Musashi, that you don't let others push you away. When, for example, your friends asks you to go party, you shouldn't go because it's simply not on the path to become a professional basketball player. Another example could be that your family doesn't support you or that they don't believe you have what it takes. Then, according to Miyamoto Musashi, you should either stop listening to them or just leave them completely. Another point by Miyamoto Musashi was that you should never be sad about a separation. People, they come and go in our lives. And if we constantly had to be sad about those people who left us or we couldn't be with, we would waste an absurd amount of time and energy. These people, as mentioned earlier, will, if you become sad and depressed, according to Miyamoto Musashi, by default take you off your path. Both Miyamoto Musashi and Buddhist doesn't like the idea of having a connection with people since it can leave you vulnerable. Miyamoto Musashi argues that attachment to other people or objects can make one unhappy, vulnerable, or weak. The fear of losing the attachment can be paralyzing and prevents you from reaching your full potential. Miyamoto Musashi also talks about basic rules for living one's life. For example, never regret things from your personal life. The first step towards regret, according to Miyamoto Musashi, is to accept that it lies in the past and that regretting something will not change anything. People who live in the past are forced to accept that the past is dead. So why waste the present? By living in the present, we may not be living life to its full potential, which creates an endless cycle. What you have done does not necessarily define who you are now. Miyamoto wrote, "Never feel bitter about something or anyone." He advises to not hold grudges and to let go of things that hold you back from moving forward in life. Complaining changes nothing, it just wastes energy and focus on what is important, the present. The event would have already happened, and it would be pointless to still talk about it. Miyamoto Musashi would argue that we often use ineffective methods since we mostly complain about something or waste time on something that is not important. Therefore, we do not spend time training for what we want, and we therefore become a worse warrior and not reach our full potential. According to Miyamoto Musashi, we should stop thinking dishonestly. To reach our full potential, we must be honest with ourselves. We must find out who we are and then find our faults. Miyamoto Musashi wrote, "When you know your path enough, you will see it in everything, and life will help you on your path." Everything you do, everything you encounter, every problem helps you develop your full potential. An example, if you train maybe to become more attractive, you will discover, it takes a long time. It requires an enormous amount of discipline. Since you develop a form of discipline and patience, you could use these qualities to start a business or whatever you want to do. To become a good warrior, he wrote, to win any fight, you must fight as if you are already dead. We must accept that we are not perfect, and that perfection is unattainable, but never stop striving for it. The path is in training, and a battle is often won before it even begins. The most successful people spend hours preparing and training. This aligns with the fact that we are mortal, meaning the only thing we can be sure of is that we will die at some point. So why should we fear anything? Fear, according to Miyamoto Musashi, is a thought that holds one back from their full potential and what they want. The way to overcome it is to face it. For the best possible warrior, Musashi believed one should have knowledge of every art. Someone who trains only one style ignores the weaknesses of their own style. Miyamoto wrote, the warrior's path is the twofold path between the pencil and the sword. To understand strategy, one must understand more than just fighting. A true soldier is as much a soldier as a student. And the finest warriors are as much warriors as philosopher. Thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing.